I'm in the crawl space underneath the first floor, and you can see that they've put some sealant over there because they must have been getting some water coming in. You can see there's a secondary crawl space over there that's underneath the area between the living room and the garage, where they have the baseboards. And the heater that you were asking about, I'll show you in a minute. That was for the room over there. They originally had a hot water boiler. They were using as a heater, but it's no longer being used. So you can see the crawl space looks like it's pretty good. There's no evidence of any mildew, mold. I don't see any rodent activity. They do have a couple of traps down over here, but for the most part, it looks like everything's okay. I'm gonna make my way back. Forgive the grunting, but this concrete is not kind on the knees. Okay, you can see that there's a rodent trap. They had put down some baits, right? But I don't really see any kind of droppings. And then this is the plumbing stack right over here. This goes through the roof. So you've got a combination of some cast iron, you've got some old steel, right? And you can see it runs down, picks up the back stack over there, some copper lines. So they did do some renovations, but for the most part the plumbing waste piping is old. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze through here. So now I did notice that it looks like you have some asbestos cement floor tiles in a couple of areas. I think they put some regular tiles over them, but the only way to tell if they're asbestos is to send them out for lab analysis. So over here is the old boiler. You were asking about the heater. It's actually a boiler. See, there's an expansion tank on it right over here. So that's no longer being used, and the way we know that is because the gas line's not connected to it. So this over here is the central air system, and you can see that the heating portion of it, the furnace, is from 2005. So this is about 15 years old. It's a gas-fired furnace, right? You can see I can take the cover off over here. This shouldn't be taped like this. As a safety measure, I should be able to pull this off and the system automatically should turn off. And then you can see the filter is getting pulled right towards the blower motor. You know, that's a big no-no. You don't want that. You've got to have air coming in around there. So I would definitely see if you can have someone install maybe a little slot over here or a bracket down there where it'll hold the filter. And then you've got the water heater over here, and it says it was installed in 2015 and it was manufactured in 2014, so December 2014. So this is about 5 years old. One thing I recommend to people is occasionally just to drain some of the water out of the bottom over here, just to get the sediment out. That'll make the water heater last quite a bit longer. So you've got a concrete block foundation. I should have mentioned that in the crawl space. These are your washing machine hoses. I always recommend putting braided hoses. They're just stronger and better. And then the washing machine dumps into the laundry sink, and this all seems to be working fine. You have an electric dryer, so in the event that you want to change this dryer, or if they don't leave it, you know, it has to be direct wired right now. There's no plug for it. Right, you see how it's just direct wired? So if you want to, you can install a plug for it, and then it would be easier for them to hook up and just plug in. So if you're going to leave it like this, it's okay. You do have a disconnect over here, you know, so you could just shut the circuit down right over here. And it's a 250 volt. So, and then this dryer vent pipe should be replaced. You shouldn't have this soft pipe. It should be a rigid pipe, right? Otherwise the lint is going to build up in between every single one of these ridges, and you can get a dryer vent fire. So it's a good idea to remove this, clean the pipe to the outside, just vacuum it all out, vacuum out the dryer if they leave it for you, and then just replace this with a rigid pipe. And then you can see that there was a slight crack in the foundation over here. Someone had filled the majority of it. There's still a little bit down on the bottom, right? This is where I was saying you can see the asbestos cement floor tiles, right? And it seems like they put this tile, this vinyl tile, over that asbestos cement, which is fine. You can do that. You don't have to remove these tiles, but if you did want to remove them, it would probably be a good idea to do a test to see if they contain asbestos. You can take off a piece of this and send it into asbestostesting.com. That's a lab out in California. It costs about 30 bucks to do. And then this over here is your gas line that comes in the house, right? I showed you this from the outside of the house. It comes in over here. You've got a shut off right over here for the gas, you know, as well as the one I originally showed you. And then it comes through the house and goes where it needs to go, right? This is for the sprinkler system. This is the irrigation controls, right? This is where you'd be able to program it, turn it on. Ta-da. Okay. And then this is the main water line coming in over here, right? It's a copper line. This is your first shut off. That's your meter, is your second shut off. And then the water comes and runs through over here. It goes up through the house, but it branches off for the sprinkler on the outside. This is an isolating valve, so you can turn on or off the hose on the outside. And then this is the sprinkler line, so you can turn off or on the sprinkler line over here. Typically there's a port over here where you can drain the water out of the sprinkler system and blow some air through it, and they didn't provide that port. And then this is the main stack over here for the sewer, right? It goes up and catches all the stuff in the bathrooms up on the second and third floors, right? It's over here. And then you were asking about that hole on the outside. I said it's a fresh air vent for the plumbing system. This is the pipe that goes to the outside. So that's definitely just a fresh air vent, and it needs to have just a perforated cover on it so no rodents can get inside of it. And then this is the main clean out for the house, you know, the main trap. So if you need to call Roto-Rooter and snake the sewer, this is where it's going to be. You know, I would definitely recommend putting a pressure regulator on the water line, especially in older houses, so that you don't get any leaks from too much pressure, and it doesn't pop the joints. And then this is your main beam right over here. You can see it's a steel beam, which is awesome. So generally speaking, you know, it's an older house. Obviously you knew that. A couple small foundation cracks, you know, something that you can seal. Definitely want to, you know, I haven't seen any evidence of any wood destroying insects doing, you know, any kind of damage to speak of, but there could be some hidden damage, so it would definitely be a good idea to improve the grading and the soil clearance and treating the carpenter ants, trimming all the trees back, and then dealing with the safety issues first, you know, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, the gas proofing inside the garage, the garage door automatically closing, you know, the loose railings on the outside, some of the loose stones, you know, any cracks in the slab of the garage. So that's where I would definitely focus on, you know, doing the repairs. But I know you guys may have something different in mind. So, all right, if you call me if you have any questions. Thanks. Oh, and we set up a radon test right there, and we'll be back in a couple days, and I'll let you know what the results are later on.